my God. He lost a lot of weight.
We're going to call to order the Narragansett Town Council. Is this not on? Can you hear it okay? Nothing? Dan, it sounds like theirs aren't working.
Yeah. Hello. Oh, no.
All right. Good evening and welcome back. We're calling to order the Narragansett Town Council regular meeting, August 2nd, 2021 at 7:31 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. We'll start with the disclosure of executive session votes. July 26th, 2021. A motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42464 and 42465A for the following purpose. Personnel, discussion regarding the position of town solicitor in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42465A1. Cicilline Jarzynski 4-0. Murray abstained. A motion to seal the minutes of the July 26, 2021 executive session. Cicilline Jarzynski 4-0. Murray abstained. Or absent, and absent on the previous one as well. And a motion to exit executive session, Cicilline Bonanno, Jarzynski 4-0 vote, with Murray absent. We're going to move on to some organizational actions, and we will start with the appointment and swearing in of the town solicitor. Do we have a motion to appoint a new town solicitor?
I'll move the motion. Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
Is there a second? All right, do we have a nomination?
I'd like to make a nomination for the solicitor for Callahan and Callahan.
All right, is there a second on that nomination?
Second.
All right, let's start with discussion. Do any council members have any comments? No. And anyone from the public wishing to speak? All right, in the back. Please state your full name and address. Dan, it looks like we need some sound. All right, first name and address, and please keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Hello?
There you go.
My name's Tom Callahan. I live at 26 Baltimore Avenue in Narragansett. I do not have an objection to either appointment tonight. I do have a question that I hope the council will address before it makes its final action. That question relates to how will the council to the town council manage any potential conflicts of interest that exist in the work that's there. And I know I saw the summary of the contract provisions that are contained in here, relate to compensation, special project works, things of that nature. I'm sure there's language in the contract or in some other provisions that calls for what happens, for example, when a counselor for...
Mr. Callahan, if you could just speak up a little bit. I'm having a little bit of a tough time hearing you.
Can't hear me?
It was just a little light. Yeah, a little...
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So the question I have is, you have a law firm in Callahan and Callahan, and I'm not related. Matt and I have gone back and forth on this for a little bit now. They do a fair amount of work before the Planning and Zoning Board. The Planning and Zoning Board actions end up in front of the council on a routine basis. You have two of them tonight in terms of setting a public hearing. There is a matter I've been following for quite some time before Planning and Zoning, which is now pending in front of the council, and that has to do with the extension of a sewer line. So my question is, when you have that kind of representation in terms of client representation and council representation, what provisions have been made for the council in terms of dealing with that conflict of interest?
Thanks, Mr. Callahan. So that is something that we discussed. I'm not going to get into the exact conversations, but we've been assured that, so first of all, any current work on any town applications will be, those will be ended. So there will be no relationship with any current applications or current cases that they're representing. And then for any cases that we have public hearings or just general going through the town process, they'll recuse themselves from those items and there's a backup attorney that will handle those. So, well, first of all, we have Steve Marcella, and then there's also attorneys that they've worked with that are not in their firm that can handle that, but Steve would be the first option. All right, thank you. If you could state your full name and address, please.
Sure. My name is Greg Mancini. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I am from 61 Main Street, North Kingstown, and I am current president of North Kingstown Town Council. And Callahan & Callahan is our town solicitor. And they don't know I'm here. The reason I am here is because I'm an attorney, and my profession, I generally see what's happening posted through town council meetings, and I wanted to come here and support this appointment of my own volition. True story, when I first got elected 3 years ago, I didn't know Callahan & Callahan, and in fact, I'd planned on terminating their relationship with our town because they were our town solicitor. But over a short period of time, very short period of time, they have grown to gain my trust, and I believe the citizens of North Kingstown. So much so that I'm here tonight. So I strongly recommend them. I will tell you as an attorney that they have a higher authority than the town of North Kingstown or the town of Narragansett if there's a conflict. And that is their license through the Supreme Court Rules of Professional Conduct. So I am sure that they will adhere to that, as all of us do when we have these type of conflicts. The potential conflicts have not been an issue for us in North Kingstown. Having said that, I don't know how much work they do in Narragansett versus North Kingstown. But I can sincerely assure the residents of the town of Narragansett that this is an excellent hire, and because of that, I'm here to support this hire. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. Go ahead in the front row. So this is comment on the appointment of Callahan & Callahan. Mr. Wojciechowski? Got it. Dan, we're going to take a recess after these two appointments, and we can work on that.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I've seen Matt many years ago here, and I was so unhappy to see him leave at that time, and I'm so happy he's coming back. I have the ultimate trust, and he can really do the job. With no disrespect to our previous fellow, you know, but I know Matt, and I know this is a good choice, and I want to thank you for finding the best man for the job at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Celeberto?
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. We have a couple of pending matters from the last assistant solicitor. One is Matthew Riley, is before the Supreme Court. I would like this new firm to check over what he submitted so far, and if anything has to be amended, I want it amended. This is a very important case. I hate to say it, but he lost it on the lower level, and I want to make sure that we have a good shot at winning it before the Supreme Court. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lawler?
Hello, everybody. First, I want to say...
Oh, sorry, could you just state your full name and address?
Sure, Jill Lawler, Sarasota Avenue. Sorry, Jesse. Just want to say this is not, I don't want to speak on the person. I know the Callahans, they're great people. I even know Mom, Mrs. Callahan, they're wonderful people. I wanted to more speak on the process. I know that the three of you, Jesse, Susan, and Deb, ran on transparency. So I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about why only 3 council members, Jesse, Susan, and Deb, interviewed the candidates. It appeared there was a 3-2 vote at the last meeting, and that was the interviews. And then subsequent meetings afterward, you went on to hire. Again, not talking about the person, but the process. If you can help us out with that, that would be great.
Sure. So about who was there for the interviews? So all council members...
And why only 3 people attended the meetings and did it? I mean, all 5 of you are elected officials, but why were only 3 doing it? It makes many people think different things. I mean, why were there only 3? Was there a choice ahead of time? Were people on vacation? Why weren't things rescheduled? So if you can clarify that, that would be really helpful.
Sure. Yeah, so all council members, all 5 of us agreed on the dates of the interviews. We scheduled the interviews for all the applicants. So once you get everyone lined up, that's pretty set in stone. You don't want to have to change the entire day. Last minute, there were conflicts with 2 council members scheduling. We couldn't reschedule it, and they said go ahead and do the interviews. Go ahead. Yep. Come on up. Do you want to, before you speak, if Patrick or Eva want to say anything, you feel free.
Yes, so in regards to me not being there for the interviews, I actually had planned on attending them, even though I did not want to change solicitors, but I did plan on attending. However, last minute, there was a scheduled meeting to meet with the Attorney General's office on the issue of Galilee, which I, had requested, the council had requested. So I attended that meeting with our town manager and Carol McEntee, who had set the meeting up. So that's where I was.
All right.
Well, let me
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't, I had a conflict at work. I could not make those interviews. I did review all the applicants, and I did have a favorite. He didn't make it, so majority rule. So that's what's going on here. Thank you.
All right, if you could state your full name and address.
My name is Robert Lovegreen. I live at 20 Diane Road. I have been an attorney for over 50 years and have had the pleasure of serving on both sides of the bench. I have known Matt for a long time. I've had cases with him, both with him and against him. He is highly intelligent, hardworking, and the town is very, very well served by a person like Matt. He is a gentleman of the highest integrity, and I urge you to approve his appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to also just make a clarification. So we are hiring Callahan and Callahan with James Callahan serving as the town solicitor. So, any other hands? Okay. All right, any last comments from the council? All right, so we're going to go back to the traditional way of voting. So it's not a roll call vote. So I'll just call the vote and give your vote. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion approved, 5-0. Congratulations. And we're going to take a quick break to swear in, well, it's not a break, but we're going to swear in James now.
You're fine. Don't take that with you.
I'm freaking knobby knees.
I, James Callahan, do solemnly swear I will be true and faithful unto the state and support the laws and Constitution thereof, the laws and Constitution of the United States, the Narragansett Town Charter and ordinances, and that I will well and truly execute the office of Town Solicitor for the term for which I've been appointed, or until another be engaged in my place, or until I am legally discharged therefrom. So help me God. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so next we have the reappointment and swearing of the Assistant Town Solicitor. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion. Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, so is there a nomination? You want me to do it? So I'll nominate Stephen Marcella for reappointment.
And I'll second it.
All right, seconded by Susan. Any comments from the council? No? Anyone from the public wishing to speak? All right, so we're going to call the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved, 5-0. Congratulations, Stephen. I'll swear you in.
I, Stephen Marcella, do solemnly swear that I'll be true and faithful to the state and support the laws and Constitution thereof, the laws and Constitution of the United States, the Narragansett Town Charter and ordinances, and that I will well and truly execute the office of Assistant Town Solicitor for the term for which I have been appointed, or until another be engaged in my place, or until I'm legally discharged therefrom. So help me God. Great, thank you.
Congratulations, Steve.
All right, we are going to take a 5-minute recess and start back up at 7:55. Thanks. All right, we're going to start back up. If everyone could take a seat, please. All right, so we're moving on to our announcements and presentations. We are going to start with a representative, Taylor Millspaw, from the Big Brothers and Sisters of Rhode Island, to talk about donation bins. Welcome. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Cool, thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Hello. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Taylor Millspaw, and I am the Director of Development at Big Brothers Big Sisters. And we are a large-scale donation center, and we also have mentoring programs. So Big Brothers Big Sisters is the premier mentoring program in Rhode Island. We've been around for over 52 years. We serve hundreds of children every year. And what we do, we provide mentors to the youth of Rhode Island. And we give them new opportunities and we really just expand their horizons of what they can accomplish. Some things that I'm really proud of, people in our program, they're more likely to graduate from high school. They're less likely to have drugs or teenage pregnancy. They're more likely to go to college and become volunteers themselves. So really, our program can change their lives. We also offer scholarship programs to our kids. Every child in our program gets $1,500 their freshman year of college or trade school. And then sophomore through graduation of college or trade school, they're eligible for up to $10,000 a year. So we really have an amazing program, and we're able to support that in part from donors and sponsors and corporate, but really what we're able to do is through our donation center. So we collect about 4 million pounds of clothing and textiles every year. We are the #1 clothing recycler in Rhode Island, and we have a partnership with an organization called Savers, where we take clothing and we collect it and we sell it. And that money is used to pay, my salary, keep the lights on, but also provide these amazing opportunities for our kids. And we're able to do that. One way that we would love to offer to the town here is through our bin program. So if you open up your package, you will see our newly designed state-of-the-art, I never thought that was such a thing, but we do have a state-of-the-art bin that has been safety tested, and I must say it is quite beautiful. And then we also have on every single one of our bins a warning label in English and in Spanish. So we place these bins strategically across Rhode Island. We have partnerships with over 65 nonprofits, cities, and towns. We have cities and towns such as Pawtucket, Little Compton, South Kingston, Portsmouth, the list goes on. And we're hoping that we will be able to have a partnership with you. So what I'm proposing is that we would place these bins strategically here in your town. We offer 30% net profits for every pound collected in these bins. Last year, through the pandemic, we were able to give our bin partners over $100,000. So that's really amazing as a nonprofit that we're able to give back. So for example, Cranston, their one bin that they've placed at their ice skating rink has generated over $12,000. It also helps with your tipping fees and your recycling, and then also you can use that money to help fund special programs and also help arguably the best nonprofit here in Rhode Island. I might be biased, but it's really just a great program. Some of the misconceptions or some ideas that people have about bins is we really take pride in our bins. At the heart of our agency is our mentoring programs. So we don't let our bins become an eyesore, covered with donations. We service our bins regularly. Part of our MOA that we sign with all of our bins states that we will respond within 1 business day. Just note that we are closed on Sundays. But we really pride our bins in keeping them clean and keeping them safe for your town so that they don't become an eyesore. I know that was a lot of information all at once.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the presentation. You know, it sounds like a great program. I know we have a couple or a few bins around town from different organizations. But yeah, it sounds great. Something, you know, we'll definitely want to talk more about. Do any council members have any questions or comments for Ms. Millspaw?
I just had a question. Who determines where the bins go in the towns that you have placed the?
So we have a program that works with data that says specifically where the best locations are based on data, but in your packet you will see a list of suggested locations. But it's also a partnership. We really want to build a partnership, and if you see that there's a bin that might be more successful in a certain location, we're open to that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You good? All right. Well, thank you for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you very
much.
much.
All right. So we actually are not going to do a library update tonight. That was on the agenda, but that is going to be pushed back to the next meeting. And we will move forward with our public hearings. So, all set? Okay. Great, thanks. So we have a motion to reschedule a public hearing on an application from 901 Ocean Road Holdings, LLC, to amend Chapter 731 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled Zoning, proposing a new section 12.23, Development Standard for Extended Stay Hotels, and amending Section 6.3, Prohibited Uses Table Use Regulations. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Eva. So this is currently in planning at the planning board. They're still discussing. They're going to have at least one more meeting, potentially two. We have October 4th as the rescheduled date. I did want to get an opinion from our community development director to see if the 4th was still the date or if we should push that back to maybe the 18th, just to be safe. I mean, we can always reschedule again, but if we don't have to.
Hello. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. The 4th seems like it should be doable, unless, you know, the discussion starts to wind into a lengthy breakdown of the elements and the issues. But the planning board has indicated to me that they are prepared to come forward by October 4th. I also heard from the attorney of the applicant, who couldn't be here tonight, who said that he had no concern about rescheduling to October 4th.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Mike. Okay. Any comments or questions from the council?
October 4th.
And anyone, all right, Mr. Vangermesh. So this would be specifically on rescheduling, not on the application itself.
It's really a definition of what is an extended stay hotel. Find this a rather puzzling statement.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. So this would be rescheduling to October 4th, 2021. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion approved 5-0. Next, we have a motion to open and hold a public hearing on a petition from New Dragon Incorporated, doing business as New Dragon, 80 Point Judith Road, Narragansett, Rhode Island, Plat P, Lot 324, to allow live entertainment to the Class BV alcoholic beverage license. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Eva. Okay, so this would be, a while back we approved the expansion to some outdoor use for the restaurant, which everyone may have seen. They've built out behind the restaurant what was kind of thought as a pass-through area was actually property of the restaurant. So they've expanded out there, and now they have the outdoor seating. And this is an application to be allowed to have entertainment, which would include outside there, in that new space. But why don't we start, unless anyone from the council wants to speak on this first, why don't we start with the applicant? So I think they're here. We're going to have the town solicitor swear you in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth and the whole truth, not but the truth? Please state your name and address. Please state your name and address.
Thank you for meeting me today. Like I said in the application, we are looking to have live entertainment throughout our restaurant. I think there was a little bit of confusion on the motion. We aren't planning on turning it into a nightclub. We don't want to change that type. We want to stay a restaurant. This is just to add the feature of live entertainment throughout the restaurant. And it's not going to be in every single room. So we have 2 dining rooms with the outdoor patio. And so we have an upstairs that's a cocktail lounge, and the downstairs that's the main dining room, and the outside patio. So the idea is just to add like a single cover band, a guitar player, or like a DJ that play like house, like pop, top 40s mixes, kind of whatever our community wants. We've really been listening to our customers. A lot of people say they want like light rock and when college comes in, maybe they want like a Taylor Swift night or something like that. But it's gonna add, like, we're gonna have this in the background for dinner time, and then like when it turns into more later night hours, it's still gonna be all sit down. We're not gonna clear out tables to create a dance floor or anything like that. So it's just kind of really to add to the dining experience.
All right, thank you. Council members, any questions for the applicant? Additional details?
I just had a question as far as the live entertainment. The take it outside is temporary, right?
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you were thinking about having music outside in that area.
Yes, so the outside portion, we were thinking more for the lunchtime hours, and we would have like a single guitar player out there during lunchtime to add to the dining experience. Someone could, like a singer or a DJ that would just play whatever the music vibe is for that night or day. And we might go into dinner time hours, but we aren't planning on going past nighttime hours, like quiet hours, or like disturbing any of the neighbors around.
Okay, do you have an idea of what time for lunch? Like what time?
Yeah, so like our lunch usually starts around 11 o'clock, so we probably have someone come in around noon and go until like 2, 3 o'clock. And then if we bring in a different DJ or a different performer for the dinner time rush, that would be probably around like 5 to 7 o'clock.
But that wouldn't be outside, that would be inside.
Yeah, so I mean, we wanted the ability to have it outdoors as well, so we do want outdoors as well. So it wouldn't be extended to past 8 o'clock, but we wanted the ability to have it outdoors during dinner time as well.
Okay, so 12 to 3 you said, but you're thinking more 12 to 8? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to stay with you.
Yeah, I mean, we'd bring in like different acts at different times of the day. So that's kind of what I was trying to get at. It wouldn't be one continuous stream.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's go to quick.
Just a question. You said bands, and could you just qualify that?
More cover artists, I guess. So it's not, because we don't have a lot of space for it, it wouldn't be anything huge. So I was thinking a duo guitarist, or cover singers, or a DJ, a single DJ with like their sound deck for it.
And you'd be done at like 8 o'clock at night? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Would there be more than one, somebody outside, somebody in the restaurant, somebody in the cocktail lounge simultaneously?
No, that wasn't the plan. It was just, it'd be one area at a time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
Yeah, I was in there last week. Me and the wife went over there, had dinner, and they did a lot of nice upgrades. The place looked great. The food was great, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate
All right.
that.
Yeah, so, and I know it's been a tough time for the small business community, so I support any opportunities business owners come up with to really kind of make up for that, and I would support it, so I wish you luck.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Tierney, Town Manager, do we have anyone here from Building Department or Fire who's taking a look at this?
The fire department has been over there, yes, for the expansion. The entertainment would be different, though. And building official is on vacation.
Okay.
They wouldn't normally address this anyway.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I have no issue with the inside entertainment at all. And I haven't been over since you guys did the renovations, but I saw some photos on social media and it looks awesome. It looks really good. So glad to see all the work you guys are putting into it. But I am a little bit concerned about the outdoor because I don't know if there's ever been live entertainment outside in that area generally. I'm trying to think going back. You might, Patrick or Susan might know from your partying years. But I don't know if there's been outdoor entertainment out there really ever. And there's that apartment complex over there. So that would be my concern for the outdoor. But the inside music, for me, that's totally fine. So I don't know if other council members have any concerns with that either.
I agree. I mean, I think inside is absolutely fine. There are apartments right behind it. It's a very tight area. You can't even drive through that. I'm concerned about the residents right around that area for outdoor, between the laundromat and the sandwich shop and the liquor store. I think it's going to be a little bit of a stretch for the entertainment out there, but I support inside for sure.
So even if we had it just limited to the lunchtime hours, because the outdoor is really what, the lunchtime is what we're trying to get a draw for the outdoor during the day for the live entertainment outdoors. So that's what I would be more
So it's
concerned about.
temporary, right? Because it's for take it outside. So what will happen? Yeah. So it will go till next year, but it's really temporary, right? So
Yeah, I mean,
when it was over, would that stop or?
Well, we would plan on reapplying it for whenever we can do it next year too. But I'm not sure what the regulations are yet about like re-getting the outdoor again for next year. But we would just have it during the lunchtime hour if that's what you guys prefer.
So till 3, would that?
Yeah, we could do that, 3 o'clock.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, that's early enough.
I see no reason putting any type of restrictions. I mean, what's the normal nighttime? I mean, the outside is just going to be during the day or at night?
Yeah, just, I mean.
Were you planning on doing it at night?
Well, he was.
Like just during dinner time, but if you guys have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, if anything, the music's going to drown out Point Judith Road for the apartment building in the back. So, I mean, I'd say let them do what they want, within reason. And, if somebody complains, then we pull the plug. But, I mean, why put restrictions when you don't know, what the potential ramifications, which I think would be very little. I mean, it was shut down for all these restaurants at a hard time. He wants to have a dinner, outside dinner entertainment. I don't see this council should be restricting them. They've had enough restrictions over the last year and a half.
Okay, well, is there any interest in putting on a restriction till 3? We don't have to, it's just, might as well discuss it.
I would
know
be
it's not
interested
here.
in lunchtime only, and if it's successful, it's not an issue, then you could extend it. I'd rather go that way than have it until 8 o'clock at night with the residents around. So I can support the music outside during the lunchtime till 2 or 3 o'clock, but then I would be reluctant to do 8 o'clock at night with people in that area. I just wouldn't support it personally.
So, because it is one thing to have a restaurant that already has an outdoor element, and then you expand that to music, that's fine. That's kind of one step, but we've gone from no outdoor to all the way. You want to go from no outdoor to all the way having music at night. I think that, for me, that's a big jump. So.
First of all, the market is going to dictate what happens over there. I mean, if it turns into a riot, then we pull it back. But, I just don't see, this whole Take It Outside initiative was to help businesses. okay? I'd say give them a shot, let them, if they want to have entertainment. I mean, come 9 o'clock, most people are taking off and moving on to somewhere else, so I don't see how this is a big issue. I think
it's fine. I think, yes, I mean, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. Like I said, it's an opportunity for this business to kind of try to make up for a lot of the lost opportunities they had during COVID. So again, I would always support any time somebody's going to think outside the box for, business to kind of make up for that. I'm going to support it. And, as a municipality, we have that authority, and I want to use our authority to do that.
And it's a privilege. If we get complaints, we can pull it back in. We can rein it in if we have to.
All right, so are there any, so what do you guys, Susan, you said you were interested in the 3,
Yeah,
possibly?
I want to have a restriction for lunchtime only. If it's successful, I would be, but it sounds like my colleagues are extending it to the early evening hours, so it doesn't look like
Deb,
there's
do you have
a
an opinion on it?
I don't really have a problem with 8 o'clock, but I think it should be a hard stop, that's
So
fine.
till 8?
Yeah.
Are you guys okay till 8?
I can live with 8.
Yeah, that's all you're.
Well, he said that, but it wasn't definitely.
No, I mean,
it wasn't-
yeah, it would be like dinner time. So, I mean, our dinner usually stops around
I think
7
that's-
o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it usually turns into more of like finger foods, appetizers, that kind of things.
It's a reasonable stop time.
All right, are there any other members of the public that would like to speak? All right, thank you. Mr. Wojciechowski, go ahead. And the town solicitor will swear you in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony? Please state your name and address.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I just don't visualize some intense rock and roll music out there at lunchtime. People I don't think would be wanting to eat during some loud, bustling music. So, unless we're getting into 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I don't see the problem here. I'd like to give this guy as much leeway as possible. Never mind 8, we should be able to go till 9 or 10. We should be able to go to 10 before you get excited, and then review it next year if there's a problem. I don't see a lot of 3-family houses. I don't see family houses around there that are really going to get affected. You've got the apartment house there. I understand that. But primarily, in that vicinity, that's all you have is one facility there. And if they get excited, then they can complain, and then we'll do something. But I think we ought to give businesses some flexibility. And if we could go to 9 or 10 o'clock, I think that would be fair at this point. Give them that chance with the opportunity for a review in a year so you can pull it off them. Well, let's give it to them. Give it a try. We need some stimulation out here. Goodness, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Alba?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with Stan. I know if my dad was here, he'll agree with them too. He's always supported small businesses. They do have it tough. Even in the best of times, let's face it, they have a short season. That's the name of the game for Narragansett. So, let's rally behind this here and let's support this request. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep, front row.
Hi, my name is...
Hi, please raise your right hand.
Yeah.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Caroline Hagan-Webb. I live at 9 McMillan Way,
Thank you.
Narragansett. I just wanted to add that I'm a musician. I'm not a professional musician, but I am just, starting into that. And there aren't that many venues for people to practice their craft, and having another place for musicians to start out and get recognition and work on developing that part of their career could also be a benefit to this.
Thank you. All right.
It's a jobs program, all right?
Gotcha. Anyone else?
So it looks like,
Okay. All right. Any other comments from the
yeah,
council?
so it looks like my colleagues are going to go till 8, so I'm going to support that. I support businesses. I am concerned about it, so I'm going to be really concerned if we, get complaints and stuff. I'm concerned, but I'm going to go with the majority because I too want to be on the record for supporting the business.
Very good, very good. Okay. Any last comments before we vote to close the public hearing? Okay. All right, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion by Susan, seconded by Eva. All in favor?
Aye.
Reluctantly, aye.
All opposed? Do I have to say that? Okay, motion approved 5-0. Now we have a motion to.
Good luck.
Well, wait, that was just to close it. But
They'll say good luck.
yes. Is there a motion to approve the petition to allow entertainment, subject to state and local regulations with a restriction until 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I'll move the motion.
Is there a second? All right, seconded by Patrick. Actually, if you want to come up for comment, that's fine. Oh, for the outdoors, I gotcha.
for the outdoors.
Yeah, we'll redo that. Thank you. So, is there a motion to approve the petition to allow entertainment subject to state and local regulations with a restriction on the outdoors entertainment until 8 p.m. and indoors until close?
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Any comments? All right, anyone from the public looking to comment on this motion? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Good
All
luck.
right, motion approved 5-0. Congratulations, good luck. All right, next we have a motion to open and hold a public hearing to consider rezoning a property to comply with designations assigned in the 2017 Narragansett Comprehensive Plan Land Use Map.
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Patrick. All right. So we will start with our Community Development Director, Mike DeLuca. Mike, if you want to give us a summary and a history of what's going on here.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President and members of the council. And bear with me a second. This particular agenda item is really somewhat of a housekeeping item. As you know, and I'm going to read a bit from our agenda item summary so that we can have this all on the record and the public can follow along. As you know, the council adopted the full rewrite of the Narragansett Comprehensive Plan on September 5th, 2017, after several years of study, analysis, and formulation. Following the adoption, the three-part plan known as the baseline report, the roadmap, and the action plan became the document that now serves the primary guidance document for development and provision of public services for the foreseeable future. One of the key elements of the plan is to ensure that properties are zoned appropriately for the uses designated in the plan's future land use map. I'll just call it the map for now because it takes long. So, the map. The map applies a general set of use designations to various areas of town in the following categories: high to moderate density residential, moderate to low density residential, commercial, transitional commercial, institutional, industrial, Galilee as a special area, and protected open space and recreation. The zoning of every parcel of land in town is required under the Rhode Island Comprehensive Planning Act to come into compliance with the map within a short time after the adoption of the plan. So then in November 2018, staff brought forward 9 properties for the proposed zoning changes. These properties' owners were aware of the proposed rezoning actions and were supportive of the suggested changes. In fact, most had approached the planning staff during the comprehensive planning process requesting these changes. These original 9 sites were acted upon by the council in early 2019. You may recall some of these properties: There was a residential lot in Riverdale in the north end. There was Kingston Pizza and Bonnet Liquors. There was a medical office building at the Rotary. There was a industrial parcel on Westmoreland Street. There was a commercial parcel at the corner of Point Judith Road and Ocean Road. A couple more that I can't remember at the moment. Unfortunately, one site, which was designated on the land use map, Plat NH Lot 268, which is the location of Twin Willows, was overlooked in the first round of hearings. In a recent meeting with the owner, the issue of correcting the zoning came up, and staff realized the oversight. As this task was a required action item identified in the adopted comprehensive plan, the town served as the applicant and sponsor for the 2018 hearings. So this is not an application by a private individual. We have done that this time also, as it was an identified site in the comprehensive plan. The planning board reviewed this proposal at their July 20th meeting and voted unanimously to recommend approval of the rezoning of the parcel from R40 to BA business. So what I'd like to do is show you the site, and this is what the Twin Willows looks like from the air. You can see the building is in the southern quadrant of the property, and the majority of the property is dominated by that parking lot. This is the future land use map, the map. Color coding, you can't read it very well in the legend, so let me give it to you. The dark brown is high density, high to moderate density residential. The yellow is moderate, low to low density residential. Red is commercial. So, and green is open space. So, as you can see, let's see if I can get the mouse to work. Here we are. As you can see in the circle, this parcel here is identified in red. That is the Twin Willows parcel. This property was identified during the comprehensive plan process, as I mentioned. It was discussed with then owner Phil Durgan, who was very supportive of the idea of getting his business that had been in place for several decades to have to be supported by the appropriate underlying zoning. It got onto the map, but somehow it did not find its way to the table, which is listed on page 31 of the comprehensive plan. My fault. Can't blame anyone else, but it was several people who had looked at this, the draft of the comprehensive plan, including our consultant, including the planning board, including some of you, and we never caught it. So it was unfortunate that that happened. So what I'd like to do also then is summarize how the planning board reviewed this. And there may be a little bit of duplication because, again, I'm going to be reading from their memorandum to you, which is in the packet, dated July 22nd. This action is being undertaken to resolve inconsistencies between the land use designation on the comprehensive plan future land use map and current zoning. This property was identified during the comprehensive planning process, designated on the land use map as commercial, but somehow left out of the Table 1 on page 31 of the plan. The town is taking action now to remediate this oversight and bring the zoning in line with the existing and projected commercial land use. So it's not just the idea of the town, but it also is the, procedurally, it's the requirement of the state. This action responds to following policies of Rhode Island general law. In 2011, the General Assembly passed a series of amendments to the comprehensive planning law, which is Rhode Island General Law 45-22.2. One such amendment addressed the issue of mismatches between the land use map and the parcel's land use map designation and the parcel zoning. Subsection 13C of that law states in part, each municipality shall amend its zoning ordinance and map to conform to the comprehensive plan in accordance with the implementation program as required by subdivision or state section of state law 4522.2 6B11 and paragraphs 4522.2 6B12 subsection 4. One of the first action items set forth in the implementation in our short term following the adoption of the plan was to correct these inconsistencies through appropriate rezoning of the target parcels. In our plan, action item LU, which stands for land use, LU 1.1 from the plan addresses these points by stating that it is the town's policy to ensure that the comprehensive plan reflects the town's vision of its future and use it to guide land use decisions in the development of local regulations and policies. There are two sub-policies to that. One is to make all land use decisions in accordance with the future land use map, and two, or B, to amend the zoning ordinances and subdivision and land development regulations to be consistent with the future land use map and the intent of the comprehensive plan. In regard to consistency with purposes of zoning, there were 5 principal purposes of zoning that were identified to relate to this petition. Promoting the health and safety and general welfare of the town. Provision of a range and intensity of uses appropriate to the character of the town. Promoting a high level of quality in design and development. And importantly, 2 specific items, providing for orderly growth and development which recognizes the goals and patterns of land use contained in the comprehensive plan of the city or town, adopted pursuant to Chapter 22.2 of the general laws, and promoting the implementation of the comprehensive plan itself. The context and scale of development of this targeted parcel lends support to the associated zoning adjustments. In carrying out the zoning change, the town will ensure the comprehensive plan reflects the town's vision of its future and use it to guide land use decisions. At their meeting on July 20th, the Planning Board found that the selected property and its proposed new zoning designation is consistent with and has merit to further the objectives of the town's comprehensive plan. For that reason, they voted unanimously to recommend approval. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions from the council?
No, I just, it should be zoned, in my opinion, as commercial. It's residential. It's a cleanup. I know that over the several years, we had a corridor of a lot of different properties that needed to be cleaned up. This is the last one of that. I remember the liquor store. There aren't any other outstanding residentials that should be commercial in that zone?
No, there aren't.
Okay, and then I just had a follow-up question. If we change it to commercial, could it be a very restricted list so it could stay as, say, a restaurant, bar? It couldn't be like a motel. It couldn't be, a different type of structure that would go into that commercial zone? Because I think people are concerned. I mean, I think it should be commercial. They run a commercial business, but what the uses would be concerning to me, as long as that was a short, tight list, so we would ensure people that it wasn't turning into something else down the road. Not that the Darragans are going to sell it or anything, but just in case.
All right. To answer that, I will tell you that the BA zone, which is what is being proposed, as you can see here, and it would reflect and be complementary to the commercial development to the north, allows for 81 uses by right.
81?
81, and 35 uses by special use permit. And as you know, special use permit uses have to go to the zoning board. The 81 uses are by right, and as long as the building is situated properly on the site or whatever, it can get a permit without needing zoning relief. This particular proposal was not suggested to have any limited list of uses, because we are trying at this juncture to just correct an error between the zoning ordinance, the zoning map, and the comprehensive plan land use map. So there was no discussion of what would be appropriate or not appropriate. On the sites that I mentioned a few minutes ago, we did not have that exercise. The medical building at the Rotary, we didn't have that exercise of what else could it be, should we limit it. Even the residential property in the north end of town, we did not have that, carry out that exercise. That exercise could be carried out if the council so chose in this instance, if it seems to be appropriate to have a limited list. Now, I will tell you, and I think some of you will remember, the Narragansett Bike Shop, Montessori School, the real estate agency at the corner of Bonnet Shores Road. Each of them came in for rezones. But in each of those cases, and several others, those are the three that come to mind, they were going from a fairly low-intensity use, either residential or vacant lot, to a higher intensity use, commercial. In those cases, we were concerned that the public may feel imposed upon by a higher intensity of use than vacant or residential. And we went through the exercise of considering a list. And as you remember, each of those did have a limited list. So the 81 came down to about 45 possible uses for the bicycle shop. I think 40 or so for Montessori School. I can't remember the other one. But in this case, we have a developed site that's a high intense use. We are looking at a full-scale restaurant with a full liquor license, entertainment allowance, and outdoor seating. So the concern that there could be a more intense use than that in the BA zone, I think is fairly limited. I can't think of too many other uses allowed in the BA zone that are more intense than a full-scale restaurant with entertainment and outdoor seating. So it did not occur to the town, to the staff or the planning board to install or to suggest a limited use list. If this council feels comfortable with doing so, we'd be happy to, or you're interested in investigating that, staff would be happy to help you with it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Susan. Deb, any questions now or later?
I just want to clarify one thing. We've received some emails from a number of our residents, and I just want to, one of the issues that was brought up was the potential for any change to its use could result in additional parking on Boston Neck, not parking, cars on Boston Neck Road, more traffic, and that it's a difficult spot for some people to navigate at any time, and I know that that's also true. But the question that I would ask is there any reason why we should suspect that there would be more traffic as a result of this change, either because of the fact that the actual property could change into different kinds of businesses? Just what's your thinking about that?
My answer, I think, would be based upon personal experience. I live in the area. Yeah. I've seen that parking lot on a weekend day, and it's full. And so could something else generate more traffic than the Twin Willows? Yes, possibly. Nothing comes to mind at the moment. But keep in mind also, it's not, traffic analysis isn't just volume, it's also the period of the traffic. The Twin Willows generates no traffic between 8 a.m. and noon. So if someone wanted to, or if the Durgans wanted to change it to being a breakfast shop, well, yes, traffic would increase, but it would be between 8 a.m. and noon, as opposed to the high time that most restaurants have, their peak hour, which would be between 6 and 8 p.m.
And that could have happened at any time, right? I mean, they could have done that before now if they wanted to.
Well, no, they're zoned residential. So, although as a restaurant, let me take that back. As a restaurant, they're grandfathered in as a restaurant. Right. It would be up to the zoning enforcement officer to decide if they wanted to change from being a nighttime restaurant to a morning restaurant. Okay. If that fits the bill of still fitting in the definition of a restaurant, then yes, they could change that with no trouble. I would leave that to Mr. Pimentel to make that decision, though.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Deb. I do have a couple questions for you while you're up here. We're definitely going to go to the public, and I'm sure they'll raise a bunch of good points as well. So my concerns are less related to this lot being rezoned and continuing similar use, or even if it changed to a different use. I'm not as concerned with that. More about more extreme changes down the road that this could open up. So we had talked a little bit offline about this, but if this was to be rezoned as BA, That's what we're talking about, BA, right, not BB?
BA, limited
BA,
business.
right. The owner, is it correct that the owner could potentially subdivide the lot into four new lots?
Yes, I don't have an accurate site survey of the property, but from the GIS mapping that we have in the server, it looks as though there's enough land area there to create 4 20,000 square foot lots.
And then would the property owner have the right, the entitlement to do that? Meaning, there's no good reason to reject that application if they wanted to, if this was BA.
True.
Right.
Yes, if we have a BA property that's 2 acres in size, 80,000 square feet, on a principal arterial that has sufficient frontage to divide into 4 lots with 150 feet of frontage each, then they would be allowed to come in and subdivide through the standard subdivision process.
Right.
As long as everything else was available. If we had utility problems, then that could stop it. If we had steep slope, there is a steep slope on this property in the backside of it. So some of the land is probably not as easily accessible or usable. So there are some site constraints that could cause or restrict the potential for 4 lots to be created.
Okay.
But certainly subdivision is possible.
Right.
That's true.
Okay. And then if this was to remain residential, what kind of options will they have in terms of subdivision?
They would have the option of dividing into 2 house lots.
Right.
Because it's R40 zoning, and there's about 80,000, a little over 80,000 square feet of land there. So they could divide into 2 house lots.
Okay. And then if the council did approve the rezoning to BA to be in line with the land use map in the comprehensive plan, do we have any ability to restrict future subdivisions of that land? Or is that just not legal?
The council doesn't have superseding authority over the subdivision law, and the planning board actually has final decision on that. If the planning board were to issue an approval that was objected to by a neighbor or the owner, the appeal goes to the zoning board and then to Superior Court. So the council's not in it. So I believe that restricting the ability to subdivide is outside the confines of this body's authority. I could defer to our new solicitor to ask him his interpretation on that.
Do you have an opinion on that?
I'd have to look that up. That's a good question. I'm not sure about that one.
Okay, Steve, are you on the clock here? Yeah, come up, please, thanks.
Yeah, so when you do, if you were to approve a zone change, you couldn't condition that zone change upon, not permitting any future subdivision.
And no government body, town body could do that?
In this course, the way you would do it would be you would increase the zoning from an R40 to an R80. That's the way it would be done in order to stop any future subdivisions.
But if it was BA?
But if it was BA, it would, as according to Mike, the 4 lots would be allowed if it was converted.
Potentially, right, okay.
The only way to do that would be, it would have to be a self-imposed restriction from the owner.
But then if they sold it, that would carry over?
It would carry. You could have a condition with the land, but this body could not impose subdivision restrictions in connection with a zone change.
Okay, if it was agreed upon by the owner, if that potentially happened, what kind of document is that even?
It would be a restriction that they would record in the land evidence records, similar to a conservation easement that would run probably to the town also. Is the same way we do that all the time with subdivisions, where an owner says, we'll allow a development, 20,000 square feet, but we're going to keep 1 acre, open, or 2 acres open. So it would be in some type of conservation easement or land use restriction.
Okay, great, good info, thank you.
Hang on, Steve, don't go running off.
I didn't
the
think I was
property-
working tonight, by the way, but that's
Yeah,
okay.
I know, yeah.
You can send us your invoice.
It's taken a year and half the family fortune here to get back live. All right, since the commercial business is in a residential zone, don't they need a special use permit every time they pull a building permit to work on the building?
No, not necessarily. The only time you would need a special use permit for a pre-existing non-conforming use is if you were expanding that non-conforming
right,
use.
exactly.
So if they were going to put a second floor on,
Right.
things like that. But if they were just going to, remodel the interior or do things like that, you wouldn't need a special use permit in that case. It's only the expansion of a non-conforming use.
Right, but
that
expansion
you-
could be an expansion of the bar, expansion of the kitchen.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing.
Any type of expansion, interior.
Expansion in the footprint,
Yeah.
we saw that with Monahan's, when they
Right.
expanded from the interior to the outside with extra.
But if it was in a commercial zone, then you could just go pull a permit, right?
As long as they complied with the appropriate setbacks,
Correct.
seating, parking. A lot of times, even in a commercial zone, when entities expand, they sometimes need special use permits because there's not enough parking.
Right.
Saw that with Pier House in, hotels.
Exactly, so if this got subdivided into 4 different lots, parking would be reduced, theoretically, right?
Correct.
You're not
All-
gonna have a parking lot full of cars, you're gonna have 4 buildings with less parking.
You would need all the appropriate frontage, parking,
Correct.
setbacks,
Correct.
all those type of regular zoning requirements that come with BA zoning, correct?
Understood, thank you.
So I think a lot of the concerns were with some of the uses, like the 81 uses and the 35 special use permits. So I think it would be a good opportunity. I would like to make a motion to continue this to the next meeting and have Mike look at maybe reducing the number of uses for that and bringing it back.
Well, before we continue, I mean, everyone came out tonight, so I think we should take some public comment, unless the council wants to stop that now,
No, I'd like to.
right?
I mean, I did suggest to shorten the list. I think that's a little bit later, but I think there are people here, it would be good to hear, their concerns or their support for it, and, go from there.
But, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely something we can discuss. Mike, just a quick question, or Eva, well, along those lines, if we were to create a list restricting certain uses, would this then go back to planning and go through the process again?
That would be your prerogative, Mr. President. If you felt as though you wanted to get the planning board's, feeling on that and their response, their reaction to a draft list that was brought to you, then that would be your prerogative. It would also be your prerogative to send it back to the planning board to have that action take place.
Okay.
If you can, it would really be a good idea because the planning board would be able to take some time, and staff would be also, as far as to look at, again, 85 things. There are dog grooming salon, there are things, probably 50 of them will never come to fruition. But when you get to the nitty-gritty, it's actually good to have a subordinate process through the planning department and the planning board to take a look at any of those lists.
Got it. Okay.
So Steve, I thought you just got through saying that we can't restrict it. Either it's a BA zone or it's not a BA zone, it should be self-imposed by the owner.
Well, you can, and you have done it. You restricted, the prime example in the BA zone would be the real estate office at the top of
But
Bonnet.
that was self-imposed. They
But
agreed to that.
whether the application came in from the owner or.
Well, legally, if the owner, this is just a housekeeping thing, for the comp plan, and this is in line with state law. If the owner didn't want any restrictions, and he just wanted a BA, theoretically, could he take us to Superior Court?
In Narragansett, everyone can take it to Superior
Yeah, well,
Court,
yeah,
so
that's
I'm assuming whether it's, in a butter that doesn't like the zone change, or whether
Right.
it's the applicant who, and again, normally if it's so onerous, the applicant would probably come to the town and request, some type of alternate zoning, but certainly any action on a zone change can be ultimately appealed.
But, I mean, once it's in say it gets approved to a BA zone with no restrictions, all this has to, whatever's going to be open, say the mule skinner comes back.
Correct, there is the mule skinner
Then
on
the mule
on
skinner
this.
would have to go to planning and zoning and go through the whole process of getting approved, correct?
Well, if it's an allowed right, allowed by right, they wouldn't have to, as long as they had enough parking.
Right. Well, I think mule skinner's in there.
All right, thank you, Steve. All right, okay, so we're going to go to the public, take some comments, and then we can make a decision if we want to continue this on. So please raise your hand if you're interested in speaking. Ms. Salaberto? The town solicitor will swear you in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. In the past, when we considered these zoning changes, because we were cleaning up the comprehensive plan or whatever we were doing, we didn't have this New Jersey developer looming behind us, he's requesting amendments to our zoning ordinance. If he gets those, and it seems community development is supporting him, then this leaves this parcel wide open to be an extended stay hotel / student dorm. And this is a concern. And I think that if we can limit him as far as his uses, then we have to do that. Because I listened to that planning board meeting last month, and the developer, this guy from New Jersey, went parcel by parcel, all up and down Boston Neck Road and Point Judith Road. 50 parcels, 50 parcels he pointed out that potentially could be extended stay / student dorms if he gets this amendment change. And this is a prime example of what could happen. So, they all bought residential neighborhoods, of course. So I think that if you're going to do this, then I think you have to work with the owner and try to limit uses. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alba?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Thank you.
I agree with the doctor up there, what she said, and what other thoughts were as well, that, it's working now. He has a restaurant. It's operating fine. I think we'd be opening up a can of worms. To me, the only rationale for someone requesting something like this might be for them contemplating selling that property for sweet profit. So I think that, if we are going to do any kind of change, it's got to be, as Ms. Celebrato said, we have to consider toning it down. Therefore, that way we're not going to be having some kind of a, who the heck knows, a huge hotel put over there, which, for whatever reason, it can really adversely affect the abutting properties in the entire neighborhood over there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else interested in speaking?
If you haven't guessed, I'm a lawyer.
The town solicitor is going to go ahead and, actually, do you swear in a lawyer?
I don't think we have to at this point.
Trust
Please
me.
state your name and address. Thank you.
Edward Perry, that's P-A-R-E. So before I begin, I actually have two exhibits I'd like to introduce. I'll just pass them up. I don't know if that's...
Mr. Perry, do you have any copies for the town clerk?
Yes.
Thank you.
There's an extra here, too.
And Mr. DeLuca, if you have an extra?
copies of the 2002 memo as well. Should be like 15 of them. Good evening, Mr. President and fellow members of the Town Council. As I mentioned, my name is Edward Perry. I am an attorney, and I am here on behalf of a few of the direct abutters to the Twin Willows, including Robert Struck and John Struck. I'm here tonight to voice their opposition to the effort to rezone the Twin Willows property, and along with, I'm sure, other members of the community, we respectfully ask that you deny this application. There are at least 3 reasons why the council should deny this amendment. First, under the governing legal standard, and as I'm going to explain in a second, with that first exhibit, the amendment to the zoning ordinance is not consistent with the town's comprehensive plan. To that end, I have provided a copy of an opinion letter from Doug McLean, who is the city planner for Cranston, Rhode Island, which supports that conclusion. The second issue is related to the problem of process, and it kind of blends into the third problem, which is, Mr. President, you hit on, the unknown unknowns, the potential future uses of this property, including a potential expansion of the current existing use, adding floors to the restaurant, expanding the footprint of the restaurant on the property, raising traffic, and other concerns. So for all of these 3 issues, we would ask that you deny this application. First, with respect to the governing legal standard, Mr. McLean's report, and I'll just give a very brief background on him. I was actually only retained just last week, given the short 2-week window of notice on this process. He turned this opinion around over the weekend, and I received it today. So not any gamesmanship in providing it here. He is unavailable to be here tonight to speak to his report, but I think the report speaks for itself. He is certainly available to testify at a later date if need be. He makes 2 crucial findings. First of all, the proposed amendment, as I said, is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. And second, it's not consistent with a number of the overarching policies of the comprehensive plan. I just want to drill down on one. The report's there, it has the findings, it's supported by findings of fact and conclusions. But I think there's an important distinction here. The comprehensive plan in the future land use map defines the word commercial to talk about the existence of heavy traffic uses. But in the Boston Neck overlay district, where we are on the bottom of that map, the southernmost tip, it talks about mitigating traffic. So we have an inconsistency right within the map and the plan. And that's the kind of inconsistency that provides a legal basis for denying this application to amend the zoning ordinance. The unknown, I think it's 81 potential uses as a matter of right that become available the minute that you approve this application. I'm not sure how a hotel, car wash, drive-through bank, taxi stand, other uses, how that comports with walkability, issues of mitigating traffic, subdividing the property. That was a great point I heard earlier. If you have 4 separate uses on the property as a matter of right, where's the traffic going to go? It's going to go onto the street. So for these reasons, based on Mr. McLean's expert report, there's a basis here that this amendment is not consistent with the comprehensive plan, and for that reason alone, we ask that you deny the amendment. The second issue, and I'm sure you're going to hear from a lot of the folks behind me about this, is the issue of the process. Although this has been couched as a ministerial or administrative cleanup, I think a housekeeping item, and I completely understand that. This is the first time that abutters received direct notice of this, and they showed up, and this is their opportunity to be heard. I understand the way the map was drawn. I think we all get that. But when you go to the table of the specific properties that were listed in the 2017 comprehensive plan, Twin Willows is noticeably absent from that list. In order for a reader of this, one of the 3 parts of the comprehensive plan, this is just the roadmap, you would have to zoom in on the map to notice that the parcel shown on that street right there, you'd have to zoom in, have to know that that's a Twin Willows parcel. And that's just not a reasonable, it would not provide someone with a reasonable understanding to ascertain there is a zone change happening through a comprehensive plan. To go through all 140 pages of that, I think is a big ask. So as a matter of fundamental fairness, this zoning change is going to affect, I think, over 100 property owners in the surrounding residential community. And issues of traffic, like I just mentioned, where there is an inherent inconsistency or an out of syncness in the comprehensive plan with the overlay map is problematic. I think that we're essentially in the wrong forum here, and I think the council is recognizing that with some of their questions. How can we limit uses? How can we put restrictions on that? I think denying this and letting the chips fall where they may is a much more efficient mechanism to deal with the unknown potential future uses and maybe even handling this through the typical zoning process, which is exactly what happened back in 2002. And here, obviously, the town is the applicant, but in 2002, the property owners sought to change the use of the zone of the property from R40 to BA. And that's the second exhibit that you have in front of you. That is a memorandum from the then Director of Community Development, Clarkson Collins, who came out in opposition to a change to limited business. And among the reasons why, in 2002, the planner observed that the R40 zoning designation provided at least some protection against overuse, overdevelopment, and out of respect for the surrounding residential area. He noted that this area was, and this is in 2002, in the top 10 for most dangerous intersections in Narragansett, with the highest percentage of head-on collisions. That's the kind of issue that has not been fully vetted. And the concern then is just as it is now. If this property is rezoned as proposed and this application to amend the zoning ordinance is granted, the potential uses are unknown. We just don't know what they are. And it goes far beyond what the community has learned, surrounding community has learned to live with for the past 60 years. And to me, that begs 2 questions. Number 1, what is the rush to get this through? And number 2, what really has changed since 2002? The concerns about traffic still have not been addressed through this process. And the fundamental vision of the town of Narragansett has not changed, as noted in that second exhibit, the memorandum from the planner. So in addition to failing that clear baseline or satisfying that clear baseline standard of consistency, there's some due process concerns here that I think the council should give some serious weight to. And finally, as I think everybody behind me is going to make very clear, there is the slippery slope of the unknown unknowns. We have a bucket of potentially 81 uses as a matter of right, 30-something as a matter of seeking a special use permit. And if we bypass the standard rezone process here, the Twin Willows property becomes immediately available to those uses. And you could have a hotel that peers down, my clients live downslope from the Twin Willows, hotel that peers right down, I think 35 feet is the current cap on height. Once this goes forward, you cannot unring that bell. And that's why we're here to oppose that today. So for each and all of those reasons and consistent with the governing legal standard, we ask that you deny this application. I would just suggest that as I was preparing for this today, I noticed a case where our Supreme Court had observed that the opportunity to be heard comes with the opportunity to be heeded. And I would ask that the council heeds these objections today. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the council have any questions for Mr. Perry?
No, but I would like to move to continue this.
You don't want to take more comment?
If we continue it, I think we should.
Continue the public hearing.
All right.
No, I mean, sorry, you want to continue the public hearing
I
specifically?
want to continue the public hearing. I want Mr. DeLuca to talk with his staff and review this, and it looks like we need a better process.
What's that?
Yeah, we'll continue.
Right, leave it open and move on, right?
If I may, very briefly, I would just suggest that proper mechanism to do that, instead of continuing this and we end up having people coming back and forth, is to just deny the application outright. I understand that's an ask, and then, you know, the process falls where it may, but that would be my only humble suggestion.
All right. Well, I guess the first, just to clarify, in case it might be a little bit confusing, but there is no, this is a town rezoning, so it's not an application from a business.
Yep.
So I just want to make that clear, so people don't think that Twin Willows put in an application for this.
That's right.
Right.
It is the town cleaning up this administrative error, oversight, whatever you want to call it. I think the largest message here is this is not the forum to correct an administrative oversight or error like this.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do you want to, I mean, I'm fine with letting people speak while they're here, but if you want to.
Well, I mean, clearly, they're concerned with uses. I mean, you know, I can totally see what they, you know, what the issue is. Mike, what do you think? I mean, this housekeeping is, looks like it's creating a bigger mess here.
Very nice analogy. The staff is ready to work with the council or anyone that you would like us to work with to, you know, dig into this a little deeper and to look at potential limits on uses, if that's the direction you'd like us to go in. So it's, you know, it's, there's no opposition from my perspective.
Thanks, Mike. So I'm of the opinion that while we have people here, we should get their input. Okay. Is anyone else interested in speaking? Go ahead.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
John Struck, 41 Connecticut Road.
Thank you.
Narragansett. I am the owner of 1 McMillan Way, lot NH305, an abutter of the Willows. In addition, my wife Beatrice Struck, who cannot attend tonight, is the owner of 41 Connecticut Road, lot NH303, which directly abuts NH305. She agrees and supports my comments tonight. I am here tonight in opposition to rezoning the Willows. The Willows sits in the middle of a residential district. It's cited by your town planner in the 2002 memo that you already have. The Willows is surrounded on 3 sides and across Boston Neck Road by residential property. In fact, of the approximately 1,500-foot perimeter, only 100 feet is contiguous with other commercial property. There are 16 homeowners. I believe by my count, there are 16 homeowners that are abutters to the Willows, many of them here tonight. In my view, converting this parcel to a commercial zone is completely inconsistent with the neighborhood. My wife and I bought our home in 1992. Subsequent to the 2002 unsuccessful attempt by the Willows to rezone, we completely rebuilt our home. And in addition, in 2012, we acquired the other parcel, 303, which is the abutter to the Willows, and have invested substantially in that home, relying on the rezoning action taken by this council in 2002. We have lived with the negative impacts of the current and expanded uses of the Willows parcel and made adjustments to deal with the commercial use as it exists. If the owners or the proposed owners have a proposed plan for the parcel, they should bring it forward for consideration at that time. This motion to rezone the Willows should be denied, and on behalf of my wife and myself, respectfully submit that the town council deny the request tonight. Approving this rezoning under the pretense of correcting an error or administrative oversight is just plain unfair to the neighbors in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else interested in speaking? Okay, come ahead.
Hi, please state your name and address.
I'm Caroline Hagan-Webb. I live at 9 McMillan Way.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, so I'm on a butter. I live right near John Streck, and I was not notified of this officially, so I really feel like I'm in the dark, even more so than others do. And I just want to reiterate this whole turning it into a BA designation really does open it up to 81 plus options, and for us, it feels like we have almost no say in what's going to happen in the future. Like, I love the Willows right now, the way it is, but I can't tell that 60 years from now, it's still going to be the Willows or what's going to happen, and I'm planning on living here that long, hopefully. So I just really think we should be careful about what we do and planning about what's going to happen in the future, not just what we assume it will be for the next few years. And considering what happened in the past year with coronavirus, we really don't know what's going to happen in the future. Things could change significantly. It could end up being something completely different. And I agree with what was said earlier that if it does get rezoned, we should at least limit the number of things that it could be. And I believe it would be preferable if people that it actually affects, abutters like us, could be involved in that process of deciding what the less than 81 options will be. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? In the back? Yep, coming up.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Robert Struck, and I live at 7 McMillan Way, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I rise in opposition to the proposed rezoning of the property. I am a direct abutter, along with Caroline Hagan-Webb and my brother John and others that are here. I suggest to you, Mr. President, instead of having everyone speak, why don't you just ask for those that are opposed, stand up, raise their hand or something. The neighborhood is represented on both sides of Cononicut Road now by the West Quaig Beach Association as well as the Bonnet Terrace Association. I have lived in this house in summers and now full-time since 1982 with my wife and 4 daughters. We have coalesced very well with the Willows in its current state, and we object vociferously to any change in zoning that allows for the 81 additional possibilities there without knowing anything that could happen. Appreciate your time, but I would ask, Mr. President, you ask those, instead of coming up here and wasting a lot of time, why don't you just ask them all to stand up and be recognized as people that are opposed or for it?
Appreciate it. Thank you. If anyone has anything new to add, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll call on you. Otherwise, we're going to make, okay.
Please state your name and address.
Mike Mora, 8 Johnson Ave, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. So I am to direct a butter, NH 220, to the south part of the property. Just a couple things I'd like to add a little further to tonight. From a traffic perspective, I've lived in the neighborhood now for a few years, and I can tell you it's increased fivefold on Boston Neck Road just in the last couple of years of normal traffic. When you mention that the property, I want to say, first of all, I'm a huge fan of Willow's myself. I've been going there since 1980, okay? So I appreciate Willow's and what it's brought to the community, but it's always been listed as an R40 property for over 50 years. We mentioned that the town had a rezoning meeting, 2017. I will say that nobody was invited from my community to go to that meeting or pointed out, as I think we pointed out earlier. You'd have to zone in on the map from the legal team there to find out that that property was being rezoned. When you take it from an R40 to a BA zoning, that means you can increase the existing property. So let's not even talk about a new building going there, a new property. You can take that restaurant and increase the footprint, I believe, by 25%. It can only be 10% of the total square footage today. It can go to 25%. So that means that if anyone's been in the restaurant business, all right, the whole value of being in a restaurant is turning tables, all right? So we talk about potentially not being able to increase traffic. I disagree with that statement, right? The parking lot's full on every weekend, and God bless Durgans, I think that's great, all right? I'm not trying to hurt anybody's business, but when you can turn a table and increase that traffic threefold that night, all right, think about how the traffic, the in and out traffic comes in the patterns. It increases significantly. So we can't say that parking lot's full now. If they expand, okay, and they increase their capacity, they're going to be able to turn more tables, which is great for the business, but it's not good for the neighborhood. Many of us have invested in this neighborhood, right, for, to have our homes there, right, and to grow. We pay a lot of taxes for that. If this gets bigger, or if it changes to potentially 85 different things it could change to, right, that could significantly impact our property values and the taxes that we pay into the community, all right? So I just want to bring that up. In all fairness, we need to look at really what the impact would be. I think we need to look at minimizing what the businesses could possibly be there. Open it up to 85 is crazy. And got to look at the impact of this is the community. There's residents on both sides of the street, on the back and all around that property, all right? So there's one R40 property restaurant today. Let's remember, it's been zoned for over 50 years as an R40, and now we're talking about changing it to a commercial property without thinking about the impact to the rest of the community. So I'll leave it at that. I can talk personally about impacts of the business, but I'm not going to do that with how impacts have been my property from a noise level. Just the COVID increase, they've been able to increase outside 9 tables. Good for them, right? Great for the business. The noise has increased at night. The trash going into the trash, banging at 1:30 in the morning has increased, okay? The people that loiter around on my property on the peripheral has increased. So there is an impact. So it would be naive to say that there wouldn't be an impact, if the business changed, and especially if it grew. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so there's a little bit of discussion about continuing and requesting a list of restrictions, correct? Does that sound good? All right, so go ahead.
Very briefly, you've heard enough from me already. I'm sure you guys love hearing from lawyers. I know there's a lot of folks who are shy in this room. I would just like anybody who is opposed to this to just raise their hand and speak with their hands. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so is there a motion to continue?
Continue.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Mr.
motion
Mr.
approved
President, I think
5-0.
Mr. President, I think you have to pick a date certain to continue the public hearing.
For the next meeting?
To the next meeting? Okay.
Right. Okay, and we have a motion to receive the planning board's recommendation.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? All right, any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
And then, so there's also a motion to approve or deny the zoning request. So we want to amend that to continue, correct? All right. Okay.
make the motion.
Any comments? Sorry, is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the
All right,
motion.
is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor to continue?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Thank you. So that's the next meeting. So that will be August 16th. All right. Next, we have our open forum public comment portion of the, oh, sorry, do we have a motion to Actually, we continued it, so we're all set, right? Okay, thank you. Open for public comment portion of the meeting. Anyone looking to speak on any items not on the agenda tonight, this would be the time. And please keep your comments to 3 minutes. We're going to wait. We're going to hold off 1 minute while we clear the room. Thank you. How'd this get here? All right. All right. We're going to start back up again. So we're going into open forum. So anyone interested in speaking, please raise your hand. Mr. Vangermesh. Please state your full name and address.
Yeah, my name is Richard, Vangermeersch. When I misspell it, you know it's time for Tappyville. It's a frequent topic, but the library. We have no lack of zeal over these 10 years, if you will, but a complete lack of clarity. Got a little thing, it's been a long, long time, and we're out many a dime. To win a bond, you must show zeal, or you might not get the deal. However, when you got the deal, the last thing you need is zeal. And this is what worries me. I will repeat my 2 requests for citizen democracy and citizen participation. Allow every citizen an opportunity to walk up the 2nd floor over the liquor store if they can make the winding, narrow, medieval steps. See the unfinished 4 to 6 feet of insulation. See how narrow this is. Look down to the liquor store. It's almost a sheer drop. And you leave the building like you came into the building. It reminds me of the Tower of Ghent, where people were victimized in the 1200s. Let every citizen see it, and then let them imagine. Look outside that plywood for the 2nd floor and think, can you put an elevator up on that plyboard? Let the citizens study this. Let them experience it. I urge every one of you councilmen, I know Patrick came up with me and Rick, please experience what you purchased. So I request this, and I hope there's a citizen demand to see what we bought. And we need an independent properties committee, so a member of the public like myself can question and demand answers to what are we going to do with the unusable 2nd floor. It was never used since it was built. That might be a clue that we have made a major, major error, and we cannot let the library go up there.
Thank you. Stanley? Full name and address, please.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I think we all have special knowledge on special items. I think Sue's in schools. If she knows about schools, I would any kind of question on schools, I'd value her opinion. Ewer, I think, is a pharmacist, so anything to do with drugs, I would think she would give us a good idea on what to do. But I want to focus now on Pat Murray. In his real estate, he hit the nail on the head recently on his 3 unrelated restriction on beach houses. It has taken away homes that could have been available for families. And what I'm saying is, my daughter owns a home just down the street, and the rent was $14.25. Now the rent's $23.50. I cannot get her to sell that. I've been trying to get her to sell that house. No, the rent went up. Why did the rent roll up? Because the 3 bedrooms skyrocketed. No, I have 1 beach house. Yeah? From $1,100 to $1,600 a week, from $1,100 to $2,100 a month. there's no less incentive for me to let go. I'd kind of let go, but there's no less incentive because of your policy. You took away homes that could have been available by using this three unrelated issue. Now everybody's crowding into these three. They created a fantastic demand, and I should be happy. I think the price went up probably at least 200,000, but that just wipes out any potential family looking here. So I think there was a misstep there that Pat mentioned when we were dealing with three unrelated. And number two, just a number two, I still see there's a discrimination violation against educated persons, college students, educated persons. I see that. And I believe you have violated the principle of liberty and justice for all as you indicate actions against specific educated students, college students. So I hope you would revisit that and do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley. Catherine?
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. I was listening to the planning board meeting last month, and they took up the matter of DeClementi, who wants us to abandon 7,500 square feet of land and just hand it to him. And I found out, finally, after all these years, that we don't have the enabling legislation in this town to be able to charge people for land that we abandoned. Many other cities and towns have it, but we don't have it. And this astounds me, really, because over the years, we've given away land, either roads or other land, that people have asked for, absent payment. And I don't think we should continue to do this. You just don't give people town property for no payment. But we're doing this because, again, we don't have enabling legislation. So obviously, we need this enabling legislation, and I'm not sure how that happens, but I guess one of our reps will have to put in a bill or to amend what's already there in the state law. But until we do that, I would like to see all of these requests tabled. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Dr. Alba?
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all back. It's nice to see everyone in person. But on that note, one of the things I hope, believe it or not, I think one of the only benefits of the COVID-19 pandemic was that we learned that we can communicate also through Zoom. I was just recently at a properties management meeting for the DEM Procasanti group, and if it wasn't for Zoom, I wouldn't have been able to interject my points. They wouldn't have been able to see my face. They wouldn't have been able to see how emphatic I was. I wouldn't have been quoted in the Boston Globe. So there is importance that as we look tonight, and we saw the elders who are here, out of no disrespect because I'm almost an elder, I'm on the cusp. So, but the reality is, with the Delta variant, and we have flu season, we have a lot of things out there. We have, it's New England. We have driving. I saw one of the participants today came actually up here with a walker. And, we're all going to get old. Steve Hawkins, he wasn't even old. He had a brilliant mind, but he was confined to a wheelchair. I just feel that we need to find a way, and we have the technology now, to welcome participation for all those who want to participate in our town council meeting. Also, I did find out today when I called up Town Hall that it's not televised right now. I don't know if that's just a temporary, but a lot of elders, aren't going to be able to go on YouTube Live. So a lot of people can afford the cable and turn the TV on. It's more user-friendly. So I hope that we can go back onto cable for those people who don't have their laptops or their smartphones or whatever it might be. Today I was at Stop and Shop, and I had a struggle to get my Go points. They said, well, you got to get the app. Even the guy at customer service says, yeah, you're right, it is difficult at times to navigate some of these things. So I'm pretty tech savvy. I had a minor in technology in my doctoral work. But, let's face it, let's try to keep access to town council meetings user-friendly so that we can get participation by everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, great. So we'll move on to consent agenda. Do any council members have any items they'd like to move from consent? No? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, is there a second? All right, seconded by Eva. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Under new business, number 6 is a motion to direct the town manager and town planner to draft an ordinance, an ordinance that would require on-site live in-house managers for all rental properties of 6 or more bedroom homes that rent or lease on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis through a vacation medium such as Airbnb, VRBO, or by any other means of advertisement. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Patrick. So this comes from Councilors Murray and Drzezinski. So if you want to speak on this?
Certainly, thank you. Yeah, it's number 6 and it's 6 bedrooms. Ironic. Okay. Yeah, this has been an issue for several years. We have these 6 plus 7, 8, 9 bedroom homes who are utilizing Airbnb, renting on a temporary basis. We have theoretically, somewhat upwards of 200 units like this. Let me just read the summary here. There's approximately around 200 units that would fall under the category of 6 or more bedroom dwellings. Many issues have arisen over the years, influx of housing is being leased on a temporary basis. The increased activity in these rental units creates external obsolescence for surrounding neighbors and encroaches on their property rights and quiet enjoyment. On-site management is needed to provide real-time accountability for these large temporary rental units. So, something needs to be done here. I'm not looking to grandfather anybody. If you have a home in Narragansett that's 6 or more bedrooms, then, it's no different from a bed and breakfast or a motel, a small motel like on Narragansett Avenue, the old Grinnell Inn, and it should be treated as such. So that's where this came from.
Yeah, so I'm just going to speak to it as well. So I think this is a complex issue. I think it goes it's across the board with short-term rentals in general. So I know that many municipalities across the U.S. are dealing with this issue as well. So I actually, it kind of confused me too with the 6-bedroom too. So I was like wondering if we could probably look to make a motion to amend it to just short-term and make it more overreaching, and then have our planning director just come up with policies and procedures for these short-term rentals.
So, a motion to regulate short-term rentals?
Just to like change. I mean, the intent is still there. I think we're all. I think as town council members, we kind of have been working on issues. I mean, there's several very important issues that are, affecting our town, and short-term rentals is one of them. So I know I had spoken to Steve Marcella on this issue before. I've talked to Mike. And I know he's been working on short-term rentals, and I know it's just kind of more to direct it as an overarching issue for short-term versus just focusing in on like a 6-bedroom or larger.
Well, news to me, but, we're, again, we're a tourist town. If somebody's got a smaller unit and they're Airbnb in it during the summer, I mean, That's been going on, for generations. But the problem is, since people utilizing Airbnb, internet access, and they're some of these homes are getting rented by the night. And, you got 6 bedrooms, you got to figure there's, 6 to 10 people? We got 200 units. That's, 10 weeks of the summer. That's 20,000 people that we don't have any on-site manager. I'm looking for more, the higher-end bedroom. Because, the guy who's got a 2-bedroom house and he Airbnbs it for the summer, a couple weeks out of the summer, and then maybe takes a month for himself. I'm not really too concerned with that because you don't have the traffic, you don't have the trash piled up, you don't have the issues, people coming and going all hours of the night, something needs to be done with these higher bedroom units that are rented on a temporary basis.
Can I ask a question of Jim? Hi, Jim. If memory serves, it is on? Is my
Yeah.
okay? All right. If memory serves, Jim, I recall a discussion about this issue several months ago, and I thought that you and some of your staff were looking into some of the ordinances that exist or that have been, created in recent years from some of the other towns, municipalities in Rhode Island. Is that correct, or did I misunderstand that?
We have been looking into some of them. Community Development has, myself, I reached out to Newport, but previously we were directed to develop an enforcement plan for the 3 student, and we ceased doing that once that was null and void.
So,
but yes, we have started.
So you're working on this. So, should we wait for, this is sort of addressed to Patrick, but should we wait to see what they come up with?
Well, I don't know. It's news to me that you're looking at, 6 or more bedroom regulation. You're not looking at that now,
You're not looking at 6 or
right?
more, no.
No, we're not.
Well, that's what this is about. This is about, having the town planner and the town staff, look at this. And I'm on board with, sprinklers. If they got a hotel, if they're treating it like a hotel, then it should operate like a hotel.
Right.
There should be accountability, all right? Or ban it. I don't know. Something's got to be done. Because you can't have literally, 20,000 people shifting every week in these big, rental units. It's just, it's
So I guess
really-
my question would be, like, how far are you on like the short-term rental issue, and what is like the plan, what was the plan going forward? Because I know this issue's come up in the past, and I know it's a hot topic with a lot of the residents.
Yeah, so.
Where we stand at the moment, Councilwoman, is that we've been assembling background information on how other communities, not just in Rhode Island or in New England, but around the country, regulate short-term rentals. And we haven't even started trying to draft an ordinance. If you recall all the way back to 2 years ago, when there was the concern for the regulation of houses that were exceeded 5 bedrooms, and we were given the mandate to write an ordinance that would limit the size of new buildings. And we came up with the bulk zoning ordinance from that.
Right.
At the time that I gave my first presentation, I can't remember what month that was, I remember saying to the council that we are not going to take up the issue of rooming houses, boarding houses, and the programmatic elements of rentals with the prospect of regulating the size of new structures or expanded structures. We saw those as 2 different subject areas to address. The structural regulated building component, and then the way these buildings are being used. So in my presentation at the time, I said, let us get through this part here, and we will then move forward to research, analyze, and report to the council on where we see the potential for regulating short-term rentals and bringing into this discussion what's a rooming house, what's a boarding house, and how to draw those distinguishing factors such that we could set up regulations separating the hotel aspect of things, or the hotel management component, to the simple, from the simple, rental of a bedroom in your home. There's a broad spectrum here, and we have to break it into segments. So, long answer, but the long and the short of it is, we've got a lot of material already in-house. What we need to do is now go through it and start doing the analysis of it. What I'd like to do is be allowed to report to you on what we found before we even start writing an ordinance. So do this in kind of steps, like that.
So that, I did try to reach out to Wayne today, and it was the same thing about defining all the different housing, what we're going to do about it. So I don't know if you guys are up for it. I know it's like another workshop, but with the attorney, with community development, with the building inspector, with the council, to kind of go over, to clear up, the rooming houses, what we're doing with all of the information and what we want to regulate. I mean, we're all in agreement, we want to regulate it, but let's look at the data, let's look at the categories, let's make a decision together, and then we can direct the town staff and the attorney to come up with the ordinance. I mean, I don't think anybody up here tonight doesn't think that we should do something better to regulate the housing. It's understanding the different types, what is the ordinance going to be, what's going to be the enforcement, what's going to be the fees. I mean, there's a lot, it's a complex issue. This is not a new issue that we've been floating around, and we're talking about 3 student, 4 student. I mean, they're all tied in, housing in Narragansett. How can we regulate it? What can we do about it? So I would suggest that we do a workshop with all the stakeholders, and I mean the people in the town, the attorney, so we don't get sued and end up in a situation where we adopt an ordinance where we're going to end up in court again. I mean, I just don't want to see that happen.
We're not creating an ordinance, we're creating the town staff to research it and come up with something. See, the problem with hotels and hotels are mostly in commercial zones, okay? These properties are in residential zones.
Right.
So, I mean, it's a different animal. It's not a boarding house, okay? You can't say it's a boarding house in a residential home. I don't know what few boarding houses we have. I don't know which one's a boarding house. Do we even have a boarding house?
That's my point, right?
I believe the 3 on Narragansett Avenue at one time were categorized that way.
As boarding house, correct. But the point is that something needs to be done immediately. I think we got to handle, I mean, to me, I've always been the 4-bedroom. We've agreed to that. We had, exhaustive meetings. 3, 4, 5. We agreed on 4. Okay, we got a 4, 4 unrelated, 4 student, 4-bedroom bulk zoning. I think we got that one handled. Okay, we just got to support it, enforce it, come up with a plan. I think once we get into 6 bedrooms or more, it's a whole different animal that's unregulated, where literally thousands of people are transferring every weekend. And they're not, it's not being managed, like it's basically a hotel. It's unregulated.
And I share your concern, Councilman Murray. I believe that when something is that big and has that kind of turnover that you've described.
There's an impact.
In a residential zone, there can be an impact on the neighborhood. And I want to believe, and yet I can't say this to you directly right now because I haven't really got my teeth into it, but I want to believe there's a way to regulate those pretty strictly, as opposed to the person who owns a 3 or 4 bedroom home and they're just renting out a room to a friend or a neighbor or something.
Right.
There are ways to separate those 2 things and make it much easier for that person renting out a room to do so with little or no restrictions. But then for someone renting out a very large building to have certain standards that they must comply with. So I agree with you, and I think we can find our way to that. We do need a little bit of time to get into it, though.
Sure, but I mean, it's like a bed and breakfast. There's an on-site manager, there's a live-in owner, A hotel, there's somebody at the desk, you know? In case something happens, you know, I mean, this is the way these things should be treated, and I'm on board with, you know, putting in sprinklers and, whatever we can do, but I don't want to, I don't know, it's just, there's a lot of people, it's just unregulated, and there's some greedy people out there just making other people's lives miserable.
So I'll just chime in on this. I think we all know what you're trying to do, and I think we all kind of agree on the intent. But it's kind of, it's kind of arbitrary that you just choose a 6-bedroom. If we're not careful, we're going to actually make things worse. So for instance, whatever we decide to do with the 3 and the 4, we have a 4 unrelated ordinance on the books now. But this is going to undercut that. So now you're going to allow people to rent out 5 bedrooms based on this ordinance because it's under 6, right?
Yeah, well,
But then we have an ordinance that says you can't do that to more than.
That's right.
But this ordinance would allow it.
No.
So basically, there's a conflict here that has to.
No. This is short-term rentals only. The 4 unrelated.
This can be monthly though, and any landlord.
The 4 unrelated and the 4 student, it doesn't apply to short-term rentals, correct?
We don't know, and any landlord.
That was always my understanding. It didn't apply. It didn't apply to short-term rentals.
But whether it does or not, then a landlord could just put their college rentals on month to month for the year. They'll just be monthly. So.
Well, no matter what ordinance you put in, there's going to be ways around it. We just have to,
We need to figure out the
We need to
details.
work it.
Right,
Yeah.
I agree.
So, some way you got to draw a line, okay? We got the 4 unrelated, and hopefully the 4 student, 4 bulk zoning. All right, if you got a 5-bedroom house, then theoretically, you got to lock that. It's an owner's suite or owner's storage. You're supposed to lock that, correct? Theoretically, all right? So where the 6-bedroom and on comes, 6-bedroom or more, there's houses out there that exist today, and they are Airbnb-ing them. And there's a lot of people moving around, and there's just no accountability.
Let's go to the public for comment in the back. Very quick. If you could state your full name and address, please.
My name is Dennis Lynch, 22 Central Street. So just to sort of segregate a couple of topics here, even though they're related, there is on the books a 4 unrelated, not a 4 student.
Right.
And that is going to take effect within a month. So I'm hopeful that town council and staff are focused on the processes and policies and operational aspects of implementing that, because I think you've directed staff that that's going to start to be enforced. So that's happening. And that's been a problem. Appreciate that moving forward. We're going to have a workshop on the 3 students to see whether or not that can be re-implemented. Short-term rentals are really an entirely different business prospect.
Right.
And once you take out the 200 or 256 bedroom residences, there are another 2,700 to 2,800 residences that are available for short-term rental. And if you look at the sharing platforms, there are hundreds and hundreds of 3 and 4 bedroom residences that are available out there. Now, I don't know what percentage the neighborhood problems are coming from. I'm assuming 6 bedrooms could cause a bigger problem, but let's address it holistically. And I think you were heading in the right direction to hand to staff not a specific answer, but we have a fast-growing business in town that is unregulated. And so what are other towns doing? Who's been successful? What are the professionals in town management recommending as solutions to start managing that? Not just for the very large, but I don't know that a 2-bedroom short-term rental isn't turning over every weekend and isn't causing problems in a particular neighborhood. And that is sort of another little topic that I hope the council starts to work with. I have feelings, I have opinions. Could we start really using data and numbers and metrics? How many people are on VBRO and there are databases, there are third-party databases that tell you that. How many nights, thousands and thousands of nights a year that are rented out short-term in Narragansett. These are all available pieces of data that will help you make a more informed decision. And so when staff comes back, hopefully we can see what's really happening. You really should know what's happening in this town in terms of short-term rentals and who's using them and where are the hot spots. And those are all knowable and findable facts. So looking forward to 4 unrelated being installed and implemented and enforced, and looking forward to you giving clear direction to staff as to how to tackle this next problem, which is related but distinct in terms of short-term rentals. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alba?
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace, Narragansett, Rhode Island. I agree with you, Mr. President, on this one, 100%. I think it's counterintuitive to have this new proposal put in place when we have on the books far unrelated. It's like we're putting something in place which is counteracting or going against an existing. On another note, I do feel, as Mr. Stan Rajahowski said, that we shouldn't single out college students. I just think, in my opinion, that they could be good and bad. They could be good professionals, bad professionals. They could be good students, bad students. That's my opinion on that. So I know the courts, I guess in Providence, ruled that it's acceptable. I don't know if it's been challenged to the Supreme Court, United States Supreme Court, but to me it sounds discriminatory, but that's my opinion. But thank you very much for hearing me. Bye now.
Thank you. Mr. Zanfrillo?
Hi, Paul Zanfrillo, 7 Windward Circle. So I don't know if anybody's actually gone into Airbnb and done a search on what's available in Narragansett. The minimum amount of people that says that it fits, you could take the number of bedrooms and multiply it by 2 or 3. So a 3-bedroom, it will say it sleeps 9. 4-bedroom, 12, 15, even up to 20 people. So, and what the staff is going to find is that when they look at these other ordinances, and perhaps this is what Mr. Murray is afraid of, they're going to see the way a main mechanism for limiting Airbnb, because it's really not an Airbnb problem or a VBRO problem, it's a short-term rental problem. And the way they limit it in a lot of these other municipalities is they say no rentals under 28 days can be had. 28 days is the minimum, 14 days is the minimum. That's the way they regulate it. And I'm never a fan of the argument, we've been a beach town and that's how it's always going to be. We've been invaded by the internet. The scale, the massive scale the internet, Airbnb, VBRO bring is unprecedented. And Airbnb reported that the number 2 location in North America, is South County. And I don't know if you guys saw, Airbnb is now promoting on what they call experiences. So they're getting away from talking about the destination. They had 5 featured experience destinations for the country, and one of them was Narragansett. So they're coming. The world has changed. We're not a little secret anymore. And we need to respond. Municipalities, it's very hard for them to respond to things like Uber, right? Annihilating the taxi industry. But the one good spot is, if you regulate something and you tell Airbnb or VBRO that those are the regulations, they will abide by it. So if you tell them no rentals less than 28 days, they will abide by it. We need to tell them what our laws are, what our requirements are, and get them to enforce it. But look at the whole thing. 6-bedroom, that's a small percentage, a small, small part of the problem. Let's look at it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Celeberto?
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. You received my email. I think that we should just outlaw short-term rentals entirely. There's absolutely no reason why we should allow people to come into town for one night or a weekend. These are a large number of people. We have no idea who they are. You're subjecting the residents, the neighbors, to these people who, again, they haven't been vetted at all. Statistically, if you're getting 20,000 people in, you're probably going to get at least 1,000 people that you don't want living next door to you or around your children or your grandchildren. We should just stop that entirely. I don't know about limiting 28 days. I think a week is fine in the summer, but this night-to-night thing really has to stop. The other thing is this: we do have ordinances on the books, and they just haven't been enforced, and they can be enforced. They've been enforced in the past. I made the town enforce the boarding house ordinance in conjunction with James, and Santilli supported me. See, this is the whole thing. You have to have a group that supports each other. You have to have a building inspector that supports the residents, and I'm not seeing that right now, frankly. I spent $5,000 doing this, and people don't have that kind of money to do that, or they don't know the process. And it's for the town to define the process for them and, again, enforce it. But again, we have these ordinances on the books already. I don't know why we're trying to reinvent the wheel here. It just makes zero sense to me, and I just feel that Patrick's motion is down the rabbit hole, and it's going to interfere with the 4 unrelated, potentially the 3 student, and the ordinances we already have on the books. It just doesn't make any sense to add another layer to layers we already have. Thank you.
Thank you. In the back?
My name is Leo DeRoyan. I'm 84 Lake Road. Just a little background. I've been a property owner in Narragansett as a non-resident for probably the last 25 years. I've had 3 6-bedroom houses, 1 4-bedroom. You got to remember, going back in time, and you don't see them here tonight, but all the property managers used to rent these properties during the summer, you know, whether it be by night or by week. The exposure of the internet was not there. And property owners like myself complied 100% with all the restrictions and the guidelines, the number of parking spaces, the number of trash bins per bedroom, making sure they were all legal, the inspections that were done to make sure that they were legal bedroom units. I respected the rules and regulations of the town. Now comes the internet, and also created a revenue opportunity for the town. What people don't realize is that the town is getting a 1% revenue charge on the sales tax, all right? The state of Rhode Island gets 7%, and I have to charge 1% to the tenants as well. And that has to get remitted to the state, and I'm sure, and I don't know the dollar amount that contributes or how COVID had affected that on how the state paid that money to the town. But I do know that that is a big number, not to mention the amount of money that's been raised on the registration fees, okay? I understand the impact that it does have on the town. One of the members mentioned about the thousands of people coming in and out. Well, we're a tourism town, just like the Cape, okay? And without them, where would our businesses be, okay? So we need to take a serious look at this, I agree. But to have someone, like in my 6-bedroom, to have a resident there keeping an eye on things, you know, it's unfortunate, but it seems like the town's population, if you look at it, the town's population, the residents' power has grown, okay? And they laugh, but here's the point. They have the right to vote each one of you in to office, whereas the non-resident owners don't. We do not have, now I am a resident, okay? But I didn't have that right to vote to get representation. And I pay the same tax on my property that every owner in this town pays. So my point is that, look, we went after the student rentals, okay? Okay, so now let's bring it down to 3. And one of the comments is true. My girlfriend happened to be in Rock's supermarket one day, and she overheard a woman that had 2 children in the Narragansett school system. And because of this 3-bedroom limit, they were in a position that they had to leave. They had to withdraw their kids out of the Narragansett school system, which is really what the town residents want, the bedroom community. So, my time is up, but I just wanted to mention that because, first it's the 3, go to maybe 4, now it's the summer renters that drive the revenue opportunities for the town. And there are a lot of people that are very respectful of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stanley.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. The issue is noise. Noise. We have a noise ordinance. Noise. If the town had the ability to govern or restrict the noise, I don't think we'd be here, right? So you have failed, the town has failed in its administration of solving the noise problem. So what we're going to do, of course, we're going to say nobody's allowed in the town that's going to only rent for one day. Oh, nobody, like the mixing and border, let them all in. Oh, we'll let them all in. Oh, we don't want to let them all in. Let's stop them. Let's get IDs, stop people from coming in. Let's put ads in the paper. Don't come to Narragansett, please. Please don't come here. We don't want you. Let's put ads in the paper. Let's get it all over the place. Let's get rid of these doggone summer rentals. These beach rentals are crazy. We need to get rid of them. Why don't we outlaw all the rentals? You're not allowed to rent any home because it's too much noise. You want to be a total residential neighborhood. So let's go to the extremes. If you can't regulate noise, then how in the world are you're going to send a policeman in to look for the house manager? You're going to bang on my door and say, I'm the police, I want to see the manager. Where is the live-in house manager? I want the live-in. So the police are going to go in there looking for a manager? No, you send the police when there's noise. There was a house down the street, there was only 1 story, 16 people in it. No noise. A few years ago, I had 19 people come to my 3-bedroom. No noise. They had tents out in the back. They had police cars waiting for the noise. No noise. So it doesn't always mean that the rental causes the noise. And how do we govern the noise? So we get the police out there. They'll see the police cars. We've got plenty of police cars. Send them out there. Let them patrol those neighborhoods where this noise is. Eastwood Look, Bonnet Shores. Put more cars out there. That's the issue. Not making more regulations that you will not enforce, don't know how to enforce, ineffectively enforce, like the noise ordinance, obviously. You're not enforcing the noise ordinance. And now you're going to make another ordinance. I doubt you're going to be able to enforce that. Certainly it feels you're violating my private rights, banging on my door to look for a house manager, looking for unrelated.
Thank you, Mr. Wojciechowski.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ferrendi?
Steve Ferrandi, 44 Sylvan Road. Thank you, council members. for all the talk about all these ordinances that we supposedly have, can't enforce, want to enforce, we had lawsuits against us, you know, we've had a lot, but the issue really is we haven't really had the will to put a line in the sand to finally fix this problem once and all, or make a really valiant effort. Maybe I don't have 200 people, students, every Friday night or Saturday in the wintertime roaming my neighborhood, okay? Maybe it's 50 or 60 now, so I should be happy with that. You know, everything's pared down. Police are trying to do what they can. The issue is with, you know, we have the 4 unrelated. Okay, technically, as of last May 27th, when the other Supreme Court overruled, we should have been able to enforce that immediately. I don't see the town acting on any of that. There's either no direction for, either they're afraid it won't hold, which is my opinion, in a way. So anyway, we have all of this going around. And now we have Patrick, who talks about, I should move out of my neighborhood, and everyone in Eastwood Look should move because it's a student rental community, and now you want to put this thing out segregating just to 6. I think it all needs to be looked at in a cogent way where the residents have to get impetus. The people that have been dealing with this for all these years have to have our voice heard, okay? And we're going to try to do that. If that, you know, if you can get something going, that's fine. But I think we just put one thing after the other. On August 18th, we're going to be talking about a 3 college student ordinance. Now, let me repeat it. It's 3 college student ordinance. No, not 3 unrelated college students, 3 college students, period. That's what this council will be speaking about and possibly voting on. So let's get one thing done at a time. Let's do it right. Let's see if something sticks. Yes, we got to look at this Airbnb and the rest of it because it's huge. And, you know, we've got the bulk zoning now, fine. Did it help my neighborhood before that? No. I've been speaking to the council and different town minutes for 20 years about our zoning, how poor it was. So let's own up to how bad our zoning was and finally put a line in the sand and start talking about true quality of life issues. So I'd like, you can look into this, but let's do one thing at a time before we start clouding it. You know, Susan, you say, well, we got the 4 unrelated, we got the student thing, so why do we need to cloud another 6-bedroom one and above, which is basically a mini hotel anyways, when now you're going to maybe possibly have that become legitimized, okay? So let's just stick with one thing at a time. We got some things on the table, and I think you should vet that out first. And the residents should be automatically included in any discussion. You know, I should be able to call Mr. DeLuca and say, listen, if I have some input, I want to be able to get my input into what the ordinance looks like. And, you know, and we can bounce it back from his planning perspective. So that's what I asked for. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
My name is Kevin McKenna. I live at 31 Pleasant Avenue, Narragansett, Rhode Island. I am totally against this proposed ordinance, totally against it. And I'm mainly against it because of the caveat pertaining to 6 or more people. I am very worried that if this ordinance were enacted, that in fact it would probably invalidate our other ordinance having to do with 4 unrelated individuals living in a house. I mean, it would definitely be appealed to a superior court or whatever. My family has lived in this town for years and years. I'm proud of living in this town. I'm proud to tell people about the quality of life in this town, the beautiful beaches, the beautiful restaurants. I don't want to be getting to a point where this town is going to be known as the boarding house capital of the country. And I think that there's a possibility, boarding house or rooming house, that if something like this were enacted, we could end up like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All right. I'll go to Patrick. Thoughts?
You know, I think the town can walk and chew gum at the same time. We clearly have an Airbnb problem with large bedroom homes, okay? This is what I'm trying to attack. It's not trying to, get around the 4 unrelated or 4 student or 3 student. This is a total different issue, okay? So I tell you what, if there's no support, then I'll just pull the damn thing, okay? And then we'll just continue with the Airbnbs and let them go hog wild. So, I mean, this thing, the 6 or more bedrooms, something needs to be done. I mean, that's what we're up here for, okay? If we can work on the 3 and the 4 student at that next workshop. I don't see why we can't do both, all right? We're a tourist town, all right? But it doesn't mean we have to Airbnb to have people coming in and out of a property, and there's 20 people coming and going each night, And as far as regulated to be once a month, we are a tourist town. There's businesses that rely, family businesses, long-term family businesses who rely on tourists, okay? Like it or not, you bought here knowing that it's a tourist town. We just got to regulate it, okay? It can't be all one thing or all another thing. And I know you guys are having a great time, but I'll tell you what, it just needs to be regulated smartly, and I don't know. I don't know what else I can do, all right? So you try with good intentions, and all you get, I don't know, do I speak English here or what? I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. So, you want to pull it? If you guys don't want to support it,
No, we don't want to
we'll just
pull it.
the damn thing.
I think we need more information from, what Mike. I think we should amend the motion to just for the subject to be short-term rentals management, and then just direct the town manager and town planner to come back with information and come back with a plan and a timeline.
Yeah,
To just come up with we need a plan. We need to do something with short-term rentals. And part of this might be like the six bedroom or more, Mike might come back and say, that's part of the plan, and then just that's under the umbrella of short-term rentals. I mean, we're all on the same page. We're trying to do the same thing. It's just kind of conveying it so that
Okay, so
we get
we'll amend this to where we'll direct the town manager and town planner to draft an ordinance that would seek a draft to monitor or regulate Airbnb, VRBO, short-term rentals in Narragansett. That's something you can embrace? And we won't put a bedroom on it.
Well, one thing that I think would be useful in this process, we know that Mike and his department has been doing research kind of on and off on this issue for a while. And he said when he was up here that what he would like to do is provide a report. So if we can have that provided to us, we can all review it, and we could go from there. But there's so many different ways that different towns and cities have gone about regulating, and I would like to see the options.
So do we need to amend the motion, or?
Can we just let's just pull the motion. Let's pull it and we'll do that. I think that makes the most sense. We
I am
don't want to keep
withdrawing.
complicating it,
I am
right?
drawing Agenda 6 at this time.
I'll second that.
Do we vote on that?
Fine.
But we want you to
No, we don't
continue
have
working
to
on
agree
it,
to
Mike.
vote. He just agreed to pull it.
Okay, so you're pulling it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And actually, one of the meetings, we can have Mike come back with maybe a presentation of all the data that he has and come up with a plan from there.
Right.
And that's a future meeting.
Okay.
I'm sure that'll
Sounds
take a
good.
little bit of time, but.
That sounds good.
All right, good discussion. Number 7 from Finance is a motion to authorize the town manager and town council president to sign the annual service agreement between the town of Narragansett and Bacon & Company LLC to provide the required consolidated annual financial reports in the amount of $47,000. Do we have a motion?
I'll move the motion. Susan Cicilline Bonanno.
I'll
Is there a
second.
All right. Any comments from the council? Anyone from the public wishing to speak? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 8 from the fire department is a motion to approve the purchase of Halmatro cutter and spreader equipment from Shipman's Fire Equipment Company Incorporated in the amount of $20,484 using the state of Massachusetts contract.
I'll move the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments?
I was just kind of wondering what a cutter and spreader is.
Patrick, you know that, right? Cutter and spreader.
Jaws of life.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay. Thank you.
No grant money for that one, huh?
It's budgeted.
Okay, any comments from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 9 from the police department is a motion to approve the purchase of 3 new 2021 Ford Police Utility all-wheel drive vehicles from Colonial Municipal Group in the amount of $101,500.05, utilizing the Greater Boston Police Council contract.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Comments? Stanley? Come on up.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. I know every time I come up on vehicles, it's in a capital budget. You know, since we got it in the capital budget, we do it. Well, I just want to bring the attention to the capital budget, I guess. Maybe we should have in there that the vehicle should have more than 200,000 miles. You know, we should not just replace vehicles because it's in a capital budget. So I was hoping to know whether these vehicles have 200,000 miles or are broken down so seriously that we need 3 of them. And in the future, can we look at a standard of 200,000 miles per vehicle rather than the normal 100,000 that's been the past? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think the issue is the miles, it's hours. Those vehicles just sit there and, correct, chief? Right.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 10 is a motion to approve the purchase and installation services of 3 MDT tablets for 3 new police vehicles from Island Tech Services LLC in the amount of $18,110.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Comments from the council? Anyone from the public? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 11 from Parks and Rec is a motion to approve the filling of the position of Parks laborer Tuesday through Saturday shift due to a resignation.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Catherine, come on up.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. I'm going to say what I always say every time somebody's going to be hired, that we look at the town employment numbers and move toward hiring minorities and women in these positions. In this case, would be a woman in a non-traditional role or just maybe a minority. I don't know how many minorities we have working for the town, but I don't think it's too many, frankly. Police and fire, as I said in the past, they've made inroads. I don't know about the rest of the town. So I'd like you to consider looking at the number of people we have. We're supposed to be an equal opportunity employer. So you just can't sit there and wait for people to come to you. You're supposed to recruit. So I'd like some effort made in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up. Yep, Stanley.
He's going to ask Mary to apply.
Name and address, please.
Stan Wojciechowski, 1044 Boston Neck Road. On this issue of minorities, we want the most qualified person. I hope there are tests that people have to take, or testing, or qualification. We need to hire based on their ability to do the job. And I want the person who has the most ability and a track record with not discussing any gender or race issue at all. We are not going to discriminate against anyone. We are going to eliminate all discrimination by getting the most qualified person through testing. In fact, I don't want to know their gender or any other issue than quality of the work they've done and what they know. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 12 is a motion to approve the purchase of one new 2022 Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD four-wheel drive regular cab work truck with Fisher 9-foot HDX SS electric hydraulic snowplow for Parks and Recreation from National Auto Fleet Group in the amount of $47,510.58.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, any questions from the council? All right, anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 13 is a motion to approve the purchase and installation of one new play shaper play structure for Sprague Park from M.E. O'Brien Sons Incorporated in the amount of $35,654.25.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Okay.
I just want to say I was glad to see this on. I hear a lot of people, and they talk to me about the playgrounds and the Metatuxet and Sprague, and some of them are really in pretty bad shape. And so I'm glad to see that there's an investment in that playground that's really widely used by so many of the residents and young people. So I think it's important, and I just encourage the Park and Rec Director to really analyze a lot of the equipment in the surrounding parks in the town of Narragansett and see what else needs. I think I sent you a picture today of one of the parks. So I think it's a good investment, and I want to make sure that when we invest in them, that we're taking care of them. And so I was happy to see that tonight.
Thank you. Catherine?
Catherine Celebrero, 48 Earls Court. Part of this bid is $9,800 to do the construction work. It's a non-prevailing wage. That's the bid. You cannot pay, you have to pay prevailing wage if the contract is more than $1,000. You cannot let O'Brien hire somebody and pay non-prevailing wage. We had this problem with the that thing way over there, that structure at Sprague Park. I stood up and said something about that. I called DLT. In the end, Lescabo did the work, by the way, for the same amount that this company was going to pay somebody and pay them non-prevailing wage. So we can't let them subcontract this part out. We have to figure out something else for that. We could either let maybe, you can also let the people who work for the town do this work. That's allowed. They do it after work. Maybe they get paid time and a half or whatever. But you cannot have people assembling this playground equipment if you're not going to pay them prevailing wage. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle, do you mind coming up just to give us a little bit more info? Thanks. Just want to check and see if there's any additional info on the wage.
Regarding the wage, I would have to check with Megan O'Brien's company, as they provided the quote, which did include the installation cost as well. So again, what I can speak to is the contract with M.E. O'Brien through the Massachusetts Higher Education Consortium, which the town is a member of in order to take advantage of this buying power and having this structure be the cost that it is. So again, I'll have to get back to you on the prevailing wages that the company provides to its employees. One thing I do want to say is we did get additional quotes from M.E. O'Brien to make repairs to two of the structures at Sprague Parks. And each of the repairs were well over 24% of the total cost of the structure itself. So that's why I moved forward with going, obviously, with a brand new piece of equipment. And as Susan stated, the small play structure is in pretty bad shape. And if anybody's gone by it, you can see we have snow fence surrounding the structure, and it's completely closed off with signage because it has been deemed unsafe.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, any other questions from the council? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0. Number 14 from Public Works is a motion to approve the purchase of one R65M Johnston sweeper for Public Works from Butcher Municipal in the amount of $259,325 per the Sourcewell contract.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right, any questions for Mrs. Chico?
I like that we're going to get a sweeper, but it's really expensive. It's about the cost of my house.
No, it's not, actually. I'll buy your house from you.
Can I just No, it's just, I mean, I know it's a great investment and you'll take care of it. It's just a huge number. I mean, I don't know what
How
else to
long is
say.
it warranted for?
Yeah.
Like 5 years?
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 15 is a motion to approve the purchase of one new 2022 International Model CV 515 4x4 truck with 10-foot snowplow and hook lift from AT Northern Warwick LLC in the amount of $108,781, utilizing the Greater Boston Police Council contract.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Questions? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 16 is a motion to approve the purchase of one new 2022 Chevrolet Equinox all-wheel drive work vehicle for the Town Hall Motor Pool from National Auto Fleet Group in the amount of $26,820.66, utilizing the Sourcewell contract.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Questions? Comments? Okay. All in
I-
favor?
I have a
Oh,
question.
sorry, Deb.
Sorry. Mike, who uses this vehicle? Who would use it? Is there a special reason we picked a Chevy Equinox? I noticed that we had I think a Ford Taurus before this. No, I'm okay with, but why I mean, it's kind of a big vehicle.
Mike, you want to come up to the mic so we can hear you? Sorry, I just thought it'd be easier. It's okay.
Good evening. It's the smallest of the SUVs in that size package for Chevrolet, and we have standardized the fleet on the town side. Police still uses the Ford Interceptor because of the police package. We've standardized on the Chevrolet side, and so with any type of vehicles for motor pool or superintendents, directors, we're using the Equinoxes as the all-wheel drive, so we can get everybody through the winter, any type of rainstorms, all that there. So we're using a small all-wheel drive SUV.
Is there any possibility going forward that we could look at hybrids? Hybrid? No. Just asking. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
Why not? It's not a good
Maintenance disaster. And we're just not equipped to maintain hybrids, that's for sure.
All right, thank you.
Just curious.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone from the public? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Under IT, number 17 is a motion to approve the purchase of the Dark Trace Network Monitoring and Response System from SHI International Corp. in the amount of $29,964.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
All right. So this is basically cybersecurity. Anyone have any questions for Dan?
No.
Okay. Anyone from the public?
Good investment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0. Number 18 from the town clerk is a motion to appoint/reappoint two senior citizens and one veteran to the Narragansett South Kingstown Senior Advisory Committee.
Right. Do you want me to?
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
seconded by Eva. So we have a listing of two applicants.
Yep. Bill Babcock and Diane Bashing. They're going into their second term.
Right, this would be going to their second full term.
Right.
They each have done one and a partial term. This would be a second full term. So do we have any nominations?
So I would like to nominate both of those senior citizens to serve on the board, the senior advisory.
Okay.
They're the only applicants.
And we also have a
There's
new
a
application
vacant one
for
and
a
with a new.
vacant seat.
Yeah, so John Taberski is.
You want to do a motion to
Yeah.
nominate all three?
Sure. Yeah, just do it.
Okay. Any comments from the public? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. And then we have number 19, which is a motion to appoint/reappoint one individual from the planning board. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second. All right. Before we go into this one, I just want to bring up one point. So this would be a reappointment for Don Layton, who's currently on planning. This would be a second term. They're 5-year terms. And, you know, most people consider planning and zoning to be the two most important boards in town. I'm not sure if this came up during the last election cycle, but it did come up before that. I've always said publicly that I support holding interviews for appointments and reappointments for these boards. That's my position. It doesn't have to be everyone's. So I would like to actually continue this and have an interview scheduled with all the applicants plus the person looking for a reappointment.
Yeah, that's fine. I agree with that.
Okay. Over here? You guys
The
agree?
two boards that require 5 years, it says in the boards
Yeah,
and
zoning and
commissions that
planning.
you may interview them, so I think that's a smart decision.
Okay, so we can continue this and put a motion on the next meeting to schedule? You want to do that?
Yep, I think
Okay.
that's good, right?
All right, so a motion to continue, or actually a motion to table this item, right?
Yeah, well, Janet's looking, I don't know. To continue or to,
James, you mean?
I'm looking at.
James, what's the
her.
best method?
Janet, I'm looking at her.
Oh, or
now.
Janet, sorry.
Should we continue it, or?
We're going to do interviews, so I think we could just.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the dates yet, so. Sorry? We'll table, yeah. All right, is there a motion to table?
Make a motion to table it.
Sure.
What's happened about the Indian at Sprague Park?
Oh, Michelle.
All right, let's
Kirschner
get
has-
through,
we'll
why don't
finish
we just
this.
get
Yeah,
through
she'll
this?
tell you.
I'll second
Yep.
your motion.
All right, seconded by, so motion by Susan to table, seconded by Eva.
All those in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved, 5-0. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Michelle has all the information, Mary. Unbelievable.
All right, thanks to the staff for staying late. I know it's weird being back in here, so we appreciate it.
Sorry you have to drive home.